I have a grenade and I will pull the pin if anyone moves. You see this? Everyone see this? Good. Because in exactly 4 hours, if I don't get $200,000 in unmarked bills and a helicopter on that roof, I'm dropping it right here in the middle of all these people. 8 hostages, 4 bank employees, 4 customers who picked the wrong day to make a deposit. March 20th, 1992. First National Bank, downtown Phoenix, Arizona, 10:23 a.m. What started as a routine Friday morning turned into a 72-hour standoff that would rewrite every hostage negotiation manual in the country. The man holding the grenade was 34-year-old Raymond "Rattlesnake" Hayes, a former Marine with 2 prior armed robbery convictions. But he wasn't alone. 6 more men spread across the bank lobby, each armed, each dangerous, each with their own criminal history that made this the worst possible combination of desperation and violence. By noon, 300 officers surrounded the building. By sunset, the FBI had taken over. By midnight, everyone knew this wouldn't end the way anyone hoped. Subscribe now and leave in the comments. What city are you watching from? Jennifer Martinez clocked in at 8:45 that morning, same as every Friday for the past 6 years. 29 years old, single mother of 2 girls, assistant manager at First National. She'd worked her way up from teller, knew every customer by name, kept photos of her daughters taped inside her desk drawer. Sarah Chen arrived 10 minutes later. Head teller, 42 years old, married to a firefighter, 3 kids in middle school. She'd been with the bank since 1983, survived 1 robbery attempt back in '87, told everyone she'd never let it happen again on her watch. Robert Davidson, security guard, 56 years old, retired Air Force, worked part-time to supplement his pension, carried a revolver he'd never fired outside the range. 23 years of military service, 6 months of bank security, and today would test everything he thought he knew about staying calm under pressure. By 9:45, the lobby filled with the usual Friday crowd. Michael Torres, construction worker, came to deposit his paycheck. 22 years old, engaged, wedding planned for June. Lisa Freeman, school teacher, 38, needed to transfer money for her son's college tuition. David Park, accountant, 41, withdrawing cash for his daughter's birthday party that weekend. Amanda Sullivan, nursing student, 19, opening her first checking account. 8 people total when the doors burst open at 10:21 a.m. Nobody heard the van pull up outside. Nobody noticed the 7 men in dark clothes and ski masks until they were already inside. Raymond Hayes moved first, grenade in his left hand, shotgun in his right. Marcus Viper Johnson came next, 31 years old, Hayes' cellmate from their last stint in Florence State Prison. Then Eddie "Snake" Reeves, 28, explosives expert with a dishonorable discharge from the Army. Tommy Cruz, 26, getaway driver with 6 prior escape attempts. Vincent Palmer, 33, weapons specialist who could strip and reassemble any firearm blindfolded. Carl Diesel Wright, 39, the muscle, 260 pounds of pure intimidation. And bringing up the rear, Danny "Kid" Foster, youngest at 24, first major crime, shaking so hard his hands could barely grip his pistol. Robert Davidson reached for his revolver. Hayes saw the movement, swung the shotgun around. Everyone in the bank froze. "On the floor," Hayes said. "Everyone on the floor right now." Jennifer dropped first, pulling Sarah down with her. The customers followed. Michael shielded Lisa with his body without thinking. David grabbed Amanda's arm, guided her down gently. 8 hostages, flat on the marble floor, hands visible, hearts pounding. Hayes kept the grenade raised high where everyone could see it. "This is real," he announced. "This pin comes out, we all die together. You understand? Everyone dies." Jennifer understood. She'd been through active shooter training twice. Protocol said cooperate, stay calm, wait for help. But training never mentioned grenades. Training never mentioned 7 armed men who looked like they had nothing left to lose. Marcus and Eddie moved to the windows, pulling down the blinds. Tommy locked the front doors. Vincent covered the back exit. Carl positioned himself at the vault. Danny stood frozen near the door, pistol shaking, eyes wide behind his mask. Outside, a patrol car rolled past on routine patrol. Officer Janet Williams, 43, 20-year veteran, noticed the closed blinds. First National never closed their blinds on Friday mornings. She radioed it in. "Dispatch, this is Unit 47. Something looks off at First National on Madison. Can you check if they're supposed to be closed today?" Dispatch confirmed they should be open. Williams pulled into the parking lot. That's when she saw the van, engine still running, no plates. She reached for her radio again, but never got the chance. Vincent saw her from the window. "Cop outside," he called. Hayes cursed. Plan was 5 minutes in and out. Now they had police attention with an empty vault and 8 witnesses. He made a decision that changed everything. "Marcus, shoot out the front windows. Show them we're serious." The first shotgun blast shattered the glass at 10:27 a.m. Williams dove behind her patrol car. 3 more blasts followed. Now every cop in downtown Phoenix knew something was wrong. The bank's silent alarm had already triggered at 10:23. Security company called it in. Police dispatch sent 2 more units. Then the shooting started and dispatch sent everyone. By 10:35, 12 officers formed a perimeter. By 10:40, the SWAT commander arrived. By 11 a.m., FBI Special Agent Robert Crawford took control. 52 years old, 28 years with the Bureau, specialist in hostage negotiation. He'd talked down bank robbers, domestic terrorists, prison rioters, but he'd never dealt with 7 suspects and a live grenade. Crawford set up command in a furniture store across the street. Phone lines into the bank were still active. He had a technician trace the main line, got the number, dialed. Marcus answered. "Who is this?" "This is FBI Special Agent Robert Crawford. I'd like to speak with whoever is in charge." Marcus handed the phone to Hayes. Raymond Hayes didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Here's what's going to happen," he said. "You're going to get me $200,000 in cash and a helicopter. You've got 4 hours. Clock started at 10:23. That gives you until 2:23. If I don't have what I want, I drop this grenade and everyone dies." Crawford had heard demands before. Money, transport, reduced sentences. Standard procedure was to stall, build rapport, wait for tactical opportunities. But the grenade changed the math. 1 wrong move and 8 people died instantly. He needed time to assess. "Raymond, I hear you, but I need to verify everyone inside is safe. Can you put one of the hostages on the phone?" Hayes laughed. "You think I'm stupid? You want voice confirmation so you know who's in here. Fine." He grabbed Jennifer by her hair, dragged her to the phone. "Tell him you're alive." Jennifer's voice shook. "This is Jennifer Martinez. We're 8 hostages. He has a grenade. Please just give him what he wants." Hayes pulled her back. "You hear that? 8 people. 8 lives. Your move, Agent Crawford." Crawford had his confirmation. 8 hostages. 7 suspects based on initial reports from Officer Williams. 1 confirmed grenade. Unknown additional weapons. The situation was already critical, but what came next made it infinitely worse. At 11:32, David Park collapsed. The accountant had a heart condition. Stress, fear, adrenaline hit him all at once. He went down hard, convulsing. Amanda screamed. Sarah, the head teller who'd taken CPR training, crawled over, despite Vincent's shouts to stay still. "David's not breathing right," she called out. "He needs help. He needs an ambulance." Hayes walked over, looked down. Carl kicked David's leg. "He's faking." Sarah looked up at Hayes. "I've known David for 3 years. He has a heart condition. He needs a doctor right now or he's going to die." Hayes considered. Letting a hostage die this early killed negotiating power, but calling for help showed weakness. He compromised. "Marcus, get on the phone. Tell the FBI we need a paramedic. 1 paramedic, unarmed. They try anything and everyone dies." Crawford received the call at 11:36. Medical emergency meant opportunity. Standard protocol was to send in a paramedic with concealed communication equipment, but Hayes specified unarmed and made clear any trick would trigger massacre. Crawford made the call. Paramedic James Wilson, 31, volunteered. No wire, no weapon, no tricks, just medical equipment. He approached the bank at 11:42, hands raised. The front door opened. Wilson entered. Eddie patted him down roughly, found nothing, led him through to David. Wilson checked vitals. "This man needs a hospital. He's having a cardiac event. I can stabilize him, but he needs advanced care within the hour. Hayes shook his head. He stays. Do what you can. Wilson worked fast, administered aspirin, checked pulse, monitored breathing. David stabilized, but barely. Wilson looked at Hayes. If you let me take him out, it shows good faith, helps negotiations. Hayes almost laughed. Good faith? I'm robbing a bank with a grenade. There's no good faith here. Wilson stays too. Now they had 9 people inside. Crawford watched from command post as his tactical team updated positions. SWAT had sharpshooters on 3 rooftops with visual on the blown-out windows. But shots were impossible with hostages clustered in the lobby and a live grenade in play. Thermal imaging showed 9 heat signatures now. 7 clustered near the vault area, 2 near the front. Crawford called the bank again at 12:15. Raymond, we need to talk about your demands. $200,000 takes time to gather. The helicopter needs FAA clearance. I need more than 2 hours to make this happen. Hayes anticipated this. Classic stall tactic. That's your problem, not mine. You've got until 2:23. Crawford shifted approach. Let me send in food and water. Show me everyone's okay. Hayes considered. They'd been inside almost 2 hours. Adrenaline was fading. Hunger and thirst would make his crew irritable. Fine. Food for 16 people. Water. Nothing else. Delivery at 1 p.m. No tricks. The food arrived on schedule. Officer Martinez, no relation to hostage Jennifer, brought it to the door. Carl retrieved it, checked every container, found nothing suspicious. Inside, the hostages ate in silence. Jennifer watched Raymond carefully. The grenade never left his hand. Even when he ate with his right hand, his left kept that pin secure. She realized something others hadn't yet. He couldn't put it down. The moment he released it, he lost his leverage, but holding it indefinitely, that was impossible. Eventually, fatigue would set in. Eventually, his grip would weaken. That's when mistakes happened. Michael Torres noticed something else. Danny, the youngest robber, kept looking at Amanda. The nursing student sat with her knees pulled up, quietly crying. Danny would glance over, look away, glance back. Michael had been around enough criminals to recognize the look. Guilt. Danny didn't want to be here. Might be an angle to exploit if things went wrong. At 1:30 p.m., something shifted. Vincent was monitoring police radio on a scanner they'd brought. He heard something that made him grab Hayes. They're bringing in the FBI hostage rescue team. Elite tactical unit, only called for worst-case scenarios. Hayes cursed. HRT meant they were planning a breach. 2:23 deadline suddenly felt very real. He grabbed the phone, called Crawford. I hear you're bringing in your special forces. Let me be clear. You try to breach this building. I drop the grenade before your boys make it through the door. Everyone dies. Crawford kept his voice level. Raymond, nobody's breaching anything. HRT is standard protocol for situations like this. They're just here as backup. Hayes wasn't buying it. Standard protocol? You think I'm an idiot? I did 6 years in Florence. I know how you people work. You're planning to rush us. Crawford saw the negotiation deteriorating. He needed to regain control, but what Hayes said next stopped him cold. You want proof I'm serious? Fine. At 2 p.m., if I don't have confirmation, my demands are being met. I'm releasing one hostage, the one with the heart condition. You can have him, but if I don't like what I hear in the next 25 minutes, the next person who walks out won't be walking. They'll be carried. Crawford felt the situation slipping. 2 p.m. was 30 minutes away. He had no helicopter, had only gathered $70,000 in cash from 3 nearby banks, and now faced an implicit threat of execution. He needed something to shift the dynamic. That's when Sarah Chen made a decision that would save her life and complicate everything. She looked at Hayes and spoke. I know where there's more money. Hayes stared at her. What did you say? Sarah kept her voice steady. I'm the head teller. I've worked here 9 years. There's a secondary cash reserve in the basement for emergencies, corporate policy. Most banks keep extra liquid assets off the main floor. First National keeps $60,000 in the basement safe. Hayes looked at Carl. Check it. Carl grabbed Sarah by the arm. Show me. If you're lying, you're the first one who doesn't make it. They disappeared through a door marked employees only. Jennifer watched them go, confused. She'd worked here 6 years as assistant manager. There was no secondary reserve. Sarah was lying. But why? Upstairs in command, Crawford received an update that changed his strategy. Background check on Raymond Hayes showed military service in the First Gulf War. Honorable discharge. 2 years later, first armed robbery. Pattern suggested PTSD, untreated mental health issues. Crawford could use this. He called the bank at 1:50 p.m. Raymond, I've been reviewing your file. Marine Corps, right? Hayes was surprised. What about it? Crawford continued. I saw you served in Desert Storm. My brother was there too. 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Hayes felt something unexpected. Connection. 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. Crawford seized it. Then you understand what it's like coming home. World doesn't make sense anymore. Normal life feels wrong. Hayes said nothing but didn't hang up. Crawford pressed carefully. I know why you're doing this, not the money. The money's just the mission. You need a mission, something that makes sense. I understand that. In the basement, Sarah showed Carl a safe built into the wall behind supply shelves. He studied it. That's a real safe. What's the combination? Sarah's heart pounded. I don't have it. Only the regional manager has that combination. He comes Tuesday mornings. Carl grabbed her shoulder. Then why tell us about it? Sarah met his eyes. Because I wanted you away from the others for 2 minutes. Carl's confusion lasted exactly 1 second before Sarah drove her knee into his groin. He doubled over. She grabbed a metal supply rod from the shelf and swung at his head, connected hard. Carl went down. Sarah didn't hesitate. She'd been through that robbery attempt in '87. Cooperated, followed protocol, did everything right. The robber shot a customer anyway. She'd promised herself never again. Sarah ran for the back exit, the one Vincent had locked earlier. She had a key from her manager key ring. She unlocked it, pushed through. Found herself in an alley. SWAT officers saw her immediately. Woman exiting the building, southeast corner. Guns came up. Sarah raised her hands. I'm Sarah Chen. I'm a hostage. I got away. One of them is in the basement unconscious. They pulled her to safety. Crawford received word at 1:53. 1 hostage escaped. 1 suspect down in basement. 6 suspects remaining. 7 hostages. The dynamic just shifted. Inside the bank, Hayes heard the commotion. Marcus ran to the basement, found Carl bleeding from the head, conscious but dazed. He radioed up. Carl's hurt. The teller got out. Hayes felt control slipping. Time check showed 1:58. His deadline of 2:23 was 25 minutes away. He had no money, no helicopter, and now 1 less hostage for leverage. He picked up the phone. Crawford, that woman who just left? That's strike 1. You've got 25 minutes to meet my demands, or strike 2 happens. And strike 2 won't be someone escaping. It'll be someone carried out. Crawford had to make a choice right then. He'd been negotiating for nearly 4 hours. Progress was minimal. 1 hostage safe was good. But 6 suspects with 7 hostages and a grenade was still catastrophic. He decided to be honest. Raymond, I don't have everything you asked for. I have $70,000. No helicopter yet. FAA needs more time. But I can get you a van, full tank, clear route out of the city. Hayes exploded. A van? You think I'm going to drive out of Phoenix with every cop in Arizona chasing me? No deal. Get me what I asked for or people start dying. At 2:15 p.m., 8 minutes before Hayes' deadline, something happened that nobody anticipated. Danny Foster, the youngest robber, walked up to Raymond with his pistol in his hand. Boss, I need to talk to you. Hayes turned. Now's not the time, kid. Danny's voice shook, but he kept going. I didn't sign up for killing hostages. You said in and out. 5 minutes. We've been here 4 hours. Now you're talking about executing people. Hayes stared at him. What's your point? Danny looked at the hostages on the floor. Amanda's eyes met his. My point is I'm out. I'm done. I want to surrender. The lobby went silent. Marcus, Eddie, Vincent, Tommy, all stared. Hayes spoke carefully. Kid, you surrender now. You go down for armed robbery, kidnapping, assault on an officer. Minimum 20 years. Danny nodded. I know. But that's better than murder. I'm not doing murder. Hayes felt the situation fracturing. If one walked, others might follow. He needed to regain control immediately. Fine. You want out? Put your gun down and walk to the door. Danny did. Set his pistol on the floor, moved toward the blown-out window. Hayes watched him go, then looked at the remaining 5. Anyone else? Silence. Good. Tommy, shoot him. Tommy hesitated. Boss? Hayes repeated. Shoot him. Show these cops what happens to traitors. Tommy raised his rifle, but his hands shook. Crawford watched through binoculars. He saw Danny emerge through the window, hands up. Saw a rifle barrel appear behind him. He grabbed his radio. Sniper team, if that kid gets shot, you have green light on the shooter. Do not let him fire. The shot never came. Tommy lowered the rifle. Hayes cursed, but didn't push it. Killing one of his own crew would destroy any remaining cohesion. Danny made it to the police line at 2:19 p.m. 4 minutes before the deadline, SWAT officers took him into custody. Crawford had him brought to command immediately. Danny sat down, hands cuffed. Start talking. What's happening in there? Danny told him everything. Hayes is losing it. He's been awake for 36 hours straight. Took meth before we hit the bank to stay sharp. The others are scared. Carl's hurt bad. Might have a concussion. Vincent and Eddie want to shoot their way out. Marcus is the only one keeping Hayes calm. Crawford absorbed this. Drug use explained Hayes' erratic behavior. Crew fracturing was good for negotiation, but Vincent and Eddie wanting a violent exit was very bad. How's he holding that grenade? Danny described it. Left hand, constant grip. His hand's been shaking for the last hour. Fatigue setting in. Crawford felt ice in his stomach. Shaking hand on a live grenade. If Hayes dropped it accidentally, everyone died. He checked his watch. 2:22 p.m. 1 minute to the deadline. He called the bank. Raymond, I've got an offer. Hayes answered. Talk fast. Crawford spoke carefully. I have $70,000 in cash ready to go. I'm getting you a van, armored, full tank. You release 4 hostages, take 3 with you as insurance. Once you're clear of Phoenix, you release them and disappear. Hayes considered. 4 hostages released. 3 with him. Better than nothing. Which 4? Crawford made his pitch. The paramedic. He's not part of this. The girl, Amanda. She's 19, nursing student. Let her go. Michael Torres, the construction worker. And Jennifer Martinez, the assistant manager. You keep Robert Davidson, Lisa Freeman, and David Park. Hayes thought about it. The ones he kept included a security guard, a teacher, and a man with a heart condition. Leverage enough. Deal. Send the van. But Crawford, any tricks and everyone still dies. At 2:45 p.m., an armored van pulled up to the bank's front entrance. Hayes made his announcement. Jennifer, Amanda, Michael, and the paramedic Wilson. You 4 are leaving. Everyone else stays. Jennifer stood carefully. Thank you. Hayes looked at her. Don't thank me. Thank the negotiator who's smart enough to know I'm serious. The 4 hostages moved toward the door. Marcus and Eddie covered them. At the threshold, Jennifer hesitated, looked back at Robert, Lisa, and David. We'll get you out, I promise. Then they were through, running to the police line. SWAT officers grabbed them, pulled them to safety. Crawford watched the 4 emerge. That's 4 lives saved. 3 still inside. 6 suspects. Time to shift tactics. Inside, Hayes felt slightly better. Fewer hostages meant more mobility. 3 was manageable. He looked at Vincent and Eddie. Start bringing the money bags from the vault to the van. Carl, even injured, helped move currency. At 3:10 p.m., they'd loaded $68,000 into the van. Close enough to 70, Hayes called Crawford. Money's loaded. We're taking the van, the 3 hostages, and leaving. Any roadblocks, any helicopters, any cops following us, and I drop this grenade in the van. Everyone dies, including your people. Crawford had already coordinated with SWAT commander. Tracking device in the van's wheel well. Helicopter with thermal imaging would track from altitude, invisible to suspects. Ground units would parallel their route 2 miles out. Once they released the hostages, tactical team would move in. Hayes never gets the chance to disappear. But Crawford didn't share any of this. You have my word, Raymond. No roadblocks. No pursuit. Just get those people out safely. Hayes almost believed him. Marcus, Eddie, Vincent, Tommy, grab the hostages. We're moving. Carl stayed behind, too injured to run. I'll take my chances surrendering. Hayes didn't argue. Carl was dead weight now. The remaining 5 suspects and 3 hostages loaded into the van at 3:28 p.m. The van pulled away from First National Bank at 3:30 p.m., 6 hours after it started. Inside, Hayes sat with the grenade still in his left hand, shotgun in his right. Marcus drove. Eddie and Vincent kept weapons on Robert, Lisa, and David in the back. Tommy rode shotgun, watching for police. They headed south on Interstate 17 toward Tucson. Hayes's plan was to cross into Mexico, disappear in Sonora, 200 miles to the border, 3-hour drive, then freedom. What Hayes didn't know was that thermal imaging tracked them from 8,000 feet. What he didn't know was that every highway patrol unit in Arizona had their route. What he didn't know was that Crawford had coordinated with Border Patrol to seal every crossing from Nogales to Douglas. At 4:15 p.m., 45 minutes into the drive, David Park started having trouble breathing again. Lisa noticed first. "David, you okay?" David clutched his chest. "Can't breathe." "Heart." Lisa looked at Hayes. "He needs a hospital." Hayes ignored her. "We're not stopping." Lisa's voice rose. "He's going to die. You want a dead hostage?" Hayes finally looked back. David's face was gray, lips turning blue. Hayes cursed. "Marcus, find a hospital." Marcus took the next exit, small town called Red Rock. Community hospital, 20 beds. They pulled up to the emergency entrance at 4:28 p.m. Hayes made his decision. "Vincent, take the old man inside. Tell them he collapsed. Don't mention us. Get him help and get back here." 2 minutes. Vincent helped David out. Robert and Lisa watched them enter the hospital. Hayes kept the grenade visible. "Anyone else feeling sick?" Nobody answered. Vincent came back at 4:30. "They've got him. He's alive." They pulled back onto the interstate. 2 hostages now, Lisa and Robert. Hayes felt better. Lighter load, more mobile. Border was 90 minutes away. But at 4:45 p.m., Marcus saw flashing lights in the rearview mirror. Highway patrol. Single unit far back, matching their speed. Hayes saw it too. "They're following us." Marcus kept steady. "What do we do?" Hayes thought fast. "We can't outrun them in this van. Can't shoot it out with Lisa and Robert here. Can't drop the grenade or we die too." He picked up a cell phone they'd taken from the bank. One of the early Motorola models, huge and expensive. He dialed the number Crawford had given him for emergencies. Crawford answered immediately. "Raymond." Hayes spoke through clenched teeth. "There's a cop following us. I told you no pursuit." Crawford checked his tactical screen. "That's highway patrol. I'll call them off. Give me 2 minutes." Hayes watched the patrol car. Suddenly it pulled onto an exit ramp, disappeared. Crawford kept his word. Hayes relaxed slightly. Maybe they'd actually make it. But Crawford was already moving pieces into place. Border Patrol had set up a checkpoint at Nogales. Disguised as routine inspection, every vehicle got stopped, every ID checked. Hayes's van would get flagged. Tactical team would be waiting. At 5:30 p.m. they approached Nogales. Hayes saw the checkpoint ahead. Inspection station, waved at all vehicles. His chest tightened. "Marcus, what do you think?" Marcus studied it. "Looks routine." Hayes wasn't sure. Vincent leaned forward. "We go through. Act normal. They won't know who we are." Eddie disagreed. "That's a trap. Has to be." They debated for 30 seconds while the van crawled forward in traffic. Hayes made the call. "We're not risking it. Marcus, take the next exit. Find another crossing." They diverted east, heading toward Douglas. Smaller crossing, less security. What they didn't know was that Crawford anticipated this move. Every crossing was covered. At 6:40 p.m., approaching Douglas, they hit the same scenario. Inspection checkpoint. Hayes exploded. "They're at every crossing." They lied. They're boxing us in. Marcus looked at him. What now? Hayes felt everything collapsing. 6 hours of driving, 2 hostages left. $70,000 that was worthless if they couldn't cross the border. His left hand, still gripping the grenade, was cramping badly. Fingers going numb. He made a decision born of desperation. We go back to Phoenix, find somewhere to hide, regroup. Marcus stared at him. Boss, that's suicide. Every cop in Arizona is looking for this van. Hayes shouted. Then what's your plan? Eddie spoke up. We ditch the van, steal a car, split up. Better chance separate. Hayes shook his head. We split up, we get caught one by one. We stay together. In the back, Lisa and Robert sat silently, listening. Robert, former Air Force, ran calculations. They were panicking. Panicked people made mistakes. Maybe a chance to escape. Maybe a chance to disarm them. He caught Lisa's eye. Nodded slightly toward the door. She understood. Be ready. At 7:15 p.m., they pulled off the interstate into a rest area north of Tucson. Marcus parked in a dark corner. Hayes got out to stretch, finally setting the grenade down on the dashboard for the first time in 9 hours. His left hand was shaking uncontrollably now. Circulation issues, muscle fatigue. He flexed his fingers, trying to restore feeling. That's when Robert made his move. He lunged forward, grabbed the grenade, rolled out of the van before anyone could react. Robert ran 20 feet, turned, held the grenade up. Now you listen. Let Lisa go. Surrender. This ends now. Hayes grabbed his shotgun. Eddie and Vincent raised their weapons. Robert stood in the open holding a live grenade, completely exposed. Crawford received an alert at 7:18 p.m. Thermal imaging shows activity at rest area. Mile marker 97. Subject outside vehicle holding object. 4 subjects with weapons aimed at him. Crawford's heart sank. The security guard just escalated everything. He grabbed his radio. All units, move in now. Sirens activated across the area. Police vehicles from 4 directions converged on the rest area. Hayes heard them coming. He looked at Robert standing there with the grenade. Looked at Marcus, Eddie, Vincent, and Tommy. Looked at Lisa still in the van. His methamphetamine-fueled brain tried to process options but couldn't find any good ones. Eddie spoke first. We shoot the old man, grab the woman, make a run for it. Vincent agreed. It's our only shot. Hayes knew it was over. The moment those police cars arrived, they were done. But decades in prison versus going down fighting. For men like him and his crew, there was only one choice. Marcus seemed to read his mind. Boss, we can't win this. Hayes looked at him. Then we make them remember us. At 7:21 p.m., police vehicles entered the rest area. Headlights illuminated the scene. Robert standing with the grenade. Hayes, Marcus, Eddie, Vincent, and Tommy spread out with weapons raised. Lisa frozen in the van. SWAT commander spoke over the loudspeaker. Drop your weapons. Release the hostage. This is over. Hayes responded by firing a shot into the air. The noise echoed across the desert. Crawford, watching from a command vehicle 200 yards back, made the hardest call of his career. Snipers, you have green light. If they aim at the hostage or officers, take the shot. For 90 seconds, nobody moved. Standoff in the darkness, illuminated by headlights and police flashers. Then Vincent made a mistake. He shifted his rifle toward Robert. 2 things happened simultaneously. Robert pulled the grenade pin and threw the grenade toward the van. A sniper's rifle cracked from a ridgeline 300 yards away. Vincent went down. The grenade hit the ground 12 feet from the van and detonated. The explosion wasn't Hollywood massive, but it was enough. Shrapnel tore through the van's side panel. The rear tire exploded. Marcus, who'd been closest, took shrapnel to his leg and went down hard. Eddie and Tommy dove for cover. Hayes stood still for a moment, shocked by the sudden violence. Then training kicked in. He raised his shotgun toward the police line. 3 more shots rang out in quick succession. Hayes took a round to the shoulder and collapsed. Eddie, trying to flee toward the tree line, caught a round to the leg and went down. Tommy dropped his weapon, threw his hands up, screaming surrender. Marcus, bleeding badly from his leg, did the same. Within 30 seconds, it was finished. Vincent didn't make it. The shrapnel and the sniper's round had both found him. Hayes was on the ground, wounded but conscious, screaming in pain and frustration. Eddie was bleeding from his leg wound. Tommy and Marcus both surrendered. SWAT teams moved in fast, securing weapons, zip-tying hands, calling for paramedics. Lisa ran from the van, crying but unhurt. Robert sat on the ground, hands shaking, realizing he'd just pulled the pin on a live grenade and lived to tell about it. Subscribe now and leave in the comments. What city are you watching from?